Good afternoon. I am Rose October with Arts, Culture, and Things in Between. Thank you for joining us. And as usual, I tell you a little bit about the program. Arts, Culture, and Things in Between is a program that features individuals who are gatekeepers of our arts and culture. They are not only performing artists, but also teachers, advocates, and scholars who the arts and culture when art forms such as visual, applied, or performing arts. For example, visual arts would mean painting, sculpting, and photography. How about film? Applied arts would be architecture, as in designing or building a project. How about fashion design, which involves working with different types of patterns and fabrics. Jewelry design, that has to do with working with materials such as wood and plastic, metal, silver, gold, and in addition to working with various types of stones. Furniture design is also a part of applied arts, working with different types of woods and the ways that the woods are laid. Performing arts is another aspect of the arts. And coming out of performing arts, we would see music, photography, film, theater, opera, drama, singing, stand-up comedy, and dance. The other part of the name of the program, culture, the middle part, has to do with the way of life for a particular group of people. So for this program, it is inclusive to mean the various groups of words, looking at attitudes and behaviors. What is important to note, though, is that as culture is mentioned, I'm really looking at how practices are passed from one generation to another. The things in between, the last part of the name of the program, of arts, culture, and things in between. Our life issues that affect the execution of the arts and cultural practices. This involves both positive and negative experiences that become part of the creative process. My guest today on Arts, Culture, and Things in Between is a performing artist. Let me share his bio with you. Mahamadou Salieu Suso, who answers to the name Salieu Suso, is an expert kora player, singer, recording artist, genealogist, and storyteller who was born and raised in Gambia, West Africa. He traditional Mandu, traditional African jollies that extend back nearly 1,000 years. So you know, African jollies are musicians, historians, and storytellers. From childhood into adulthood, Salieu was mostly homeschooled by his parents, who are historians in their own right. An important aspect of homeschooling was learning about genealogy, the study of family history. In essence, it was critical to learn about family lineage of the kings and the inheritances of the kingdom. This way, one was best equipped to entertain the royal family by knowing information about any given king of a particular region who became an heir to the throne. Salieu's father, the renowned Alhaji Musa himself, taught Salieu when he was 8 years old how to play the traditional 21-stringed kora, also known as the West African harp. It should be noted that Salieu's father, Limadi Walain Suso, the originator of the kora instrument, adult career. During his years into young adult humanitarianism, academics, playing instruments, singing, and storytelling from his parents. This was done as his parents traveled from about their own culture and traditional instruments. Some of these instruments were the continuo, balafon, dundunba, and the kora. This literal journey afforded Salieu the opportunity to learn about his culture firsthand, as his parents passed this knowledge on Mandingo, Fula, Wolof, Sarahuli, and some German, although not fluently. In 1989, Salieu's first visit to the United States was for business. It was during this trip that Salieu's brother-in-law introduced him to Papalaji Kamara, the director of the Ballet African Dance Group, and an elder who at that time was established here since 1957. In 1990, Papalaji invited Salieu to an audition to play a kora, and this laid the foundation for Salieu's musical career in the United States. Back then, Salieu stayed for 2 years while he performed with Papalaji's Ballet African Dance Group as a musician, the kora player, before heading back to Gambia. Later in 1990, from much urging by Papalaji, permanently. Since migrating in 1997, Salieu has been earning his living by mostly playing the kora. In 1998, he formed the group Jalio Kafo and extended family music ensemble, one of the nation's leading groups that is rapidly growing on the African music scene. Also in 1998, he established the Jali Kunda School of Music, where he offers choral lessons to children and adults from diverse backgrounds. As a solo performer, he traveled around the United States, through the 5 boroughs of New York. He's also gone to Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, Arizona, California, Chicago, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Albany. His international travels have taken him to widely tours of Africa and Europe. Has the opportunity to collaborate with many great artists. One of Salieu's songs, Sidiela, was featured on the album Bendenia, Mandinjalia in New York City, a compilation of Mandin and Mandinka music by musicians in New York City. This was done by the Smithsonian Folkways Recordings. In 2003, he ventured into an exciting exploration of African and Afro-Cuban rhythms with 3 master percussionists, Benny Aracho, who plays the bata, Buguragu, Bu, and the Thai Klong Ya. Olympia Ward, who plays the shekere and conga, along with the djembe, and John Ward, who plays the djembe. Salieu's also collaborated with Bronx Arts Council, Brooklyn Arts Council, the Ghana Cultural Association, with his ensemble Jandia Kofo, the Immigrant Association New York, and African Kwanzaa Celebration Group. Salieu has been a recording artist since 1992, when he recorded his first album, Creole. Other recordings are Sudu Kong, which is like a disco style piece in 1996, the soundtrack for documentary film Tutsi Lawsuit, American Indians in New Orleans, lullaby songs in 2006, and his last YouTube recording just last month entitled Salieu Suso with the World Collective Music. Salieu has been recognized for his community contributions as a kora player, singer, and storyteller. Some of his proudest moments are accolades received in 2004 by Professor Thomas of the African American Kwanzaa celebration in Staten Island, the Barrier Music Award in 2007 by Bronx Arts Council, the African Immigrant Association of New York in 2019 by Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz, and the Brooklyn Arts Council also in 2019. Salieu freelances as a soloist and as a collaborator with other groups in the United States as he continues to preserve his West African culture. One of his personal goals is to complete the writing of a book about his musical life. To you, the viewers of Arts, Culture, and Things in Between, I present to you today's guest, Salieu Suso, expert kora player, singer, recording artist, genealogist, and storyteller. Welcome, Salieu.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. Thank you so much.
Are you there, Salieu?
Yeah, I'm here.
How are you today?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
I'm doing wonderful.
How are you? Oh, good, 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 good. So, we have so much to talk about today, but one of the things that I think I want us to do before we get into talking with you is let's just look at a quick slideshow of who Salieu is.
All right.
All right. So we'll look at a quick slideshow. Once we can. Here we are, Salieu. That was just a little glimpse of who you are. I'm so excited to be talking with you today because of who you are and what you do. So I want to start off with this question about your name. Your name, Muhammadu Salieu Suso.
Yes.
Let's take it in parts.
Okay.
What does Muhammadu means?
Muhammadu means leader. It's the name of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is a leader of the Muslim Ummah, the whole entire Muslims.
Okay.
So it means a leader.
So I guess from birth you had a lot of pressure put on you.
That's right.
What about Salieu that
Salieu,
you're fondly called?
Salieu means a peace, but my father used to call me Salieu because he said it means peace. It means the source of goodness.
Okay.
And usually when I was teenager, I used to hang out with a friend. So sometimes when I get into trouble, and he would bring me home and he would talk to me like, what is the meaning of my name? So I shouldn't be inside the trouble because my name means a source of goodness. So Muhammad is a praise name for Muhammad Salieu.
Okay.
It means a source of goodness. Source of goodness, don't you know, do you think that source of goodness, what that means to you? You're not supposed to be a bad. It's supposed to be a good and good example for every kids.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Muhammadu is leader. So it's leader, source of goodness. So, and is there any specific meaning to your last name, Suso?
Suso means giver.
Okay.
Giver, someone who gives.
Who gives?
Yes.
So if you were to take your name seriously, I'm putting you on the spot now. Would you say you're living up to the meanings of your names?
Yes. Yes.
I expect you to say no, Sal.
Not. I mean, not all of it, but you know, I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle. You're doing your best.
Yeah, I'm doing my
You're
best.
doing your best.
Yeah.
Good. So you're known as a traditional Mandinka Creole.
Yes.
What does that mean? Because there are many meanings to who an individual is in your culture, traditionally. And you're known as a traditional Mandinka Creole.
Yes,
What
yes.
does that mean?
Traditional is something that, you know, people inherited from their forefathers. So Manding is a territory that, you know, go back in the days. They goes the empire of it's called Manding Empire.
Okay.
Manding Empire, which represents the Malian Empire, Gambia, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Africa Coast, Niger, up to northern part of the Ghana.
Okay.
So this area, during the time of the Manding Empire, the Emporio by the name of the Sunjata Keita.
Okay.
The Lion King. That's another section of this story. I think everyone knows about Lion King now on the Broadway and stuff like that. But the great Lion King, where they pick up the name, that's the Sunjata Keita. That's 16th centuries.
Okay.
So he was king of the Manding Empire. So that's how the Manding came. So Manding, mothers, children. It literally means mother's children. Manding.
Okay.
So then that's how all the Mandinkas inherited that expression of Mandingo. So sometimes when the things it usually our forefathers used to say every 100 years or 50 years, you know, people has a dialogue, you know, changes. So this dialogue has been changing from one place to another. In Mali, back in the days, you would say Bambara, Mandingo, or Mandinka. So when the people moved from Mali to Senegal, Gambia, then the words keep changing. So Gambia, they say Mandingo. In Guinea-Bissau, they say Mandingo. But in Guinea, they say Mandinka or Malinke.
Got it. So in some ways, Mandingo and Mandinka is the same thing depending on location. Is that what I'm understanding?
Same
Okay.
thing.
What about Creole? What about Creole?
Creole is
spelled Griot.
Yes, that is a French and a Portuguese misspelling of Gewel. They had a misspelling of the Gewel. I mean, because back in the pre-colonial time, the Portuguese first came to that particular area, Gambia, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, and after French came, and after British came. So when the French came, they asked in the cultures when the people play Kontung and Kora and Balafon, they asked them what is the nature of this kind of performance. They tell them in Wolof, Gewel.
Okay, how is that spelled?
Gewel, that's spelled G E L O L. Gewel.
But Gewel sounds so far away from griot.
Yeah. So in Fulani, they call the instrument the Contino Gambari. I mean in Sarahule.
Okay.
Sarahule, they call it Gambari. So they have a confusion between Gambari and Gewel.
Mm-hmm.
So they just, write whatever, they want sound to them. So
Right.
it become a Creole, become more popular because when African Americans write, that's what they get from the history that been writing.
Right.
So it become more
Popular.
even when we are doing our programs, we try to change it to stay with the Jalis, but something has been written already, so it's hard to
Yeah.
change it.
You
But
know, you mentioned Jolly. I'll
yeah,
ask you later on to talk about that because I see a theme with some of what I've read
yeah,
about you. But you've made a very important point, Salieu, that we have to write our own stories
right,
so that our stories are not distorted and become the norm based on the distortion.
exactly.
So that's critical. So
Mhm.
it seems as though you were destined to be greatness, you know, a leader, you know, a good example, and a kora player. Let's not forget that because of who your father was, and we'll talk about that
Right.
in a minute. So, given your family lineage, it would seem as though you had to be playing the kora.
Yes.
But let's talk about how you were raised in Gambia. You were homeschooled.
Yes.
How was that? How was being homeschooled in Gambia?
That was, back in the days, that was, very, very good, laid out of the parents, because the parents, they want to make sure you get every single things, on time. So you will be teaching, in the morning to wake you up and get ready, take shower, you know, take a local toothbrush and brush your teeth, and from there you go to you go to school. You go to school, and then after breakfast, if everybody at the breakfast, then either you go and help the parents in the farm,
Mm-hmm.
or you take care of the cattle, like as sheep,
Mm-hmm.
goats and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So once you take care of those, either you go back to farm, or if it is more cattle, then you're taking care of them, you stay there. So after everybody come from the farming in the evening, so the father will make sure everybody, or every kid, go and take shower and come back before the dinner time. There'll be lessons.
Ah, okay.
There'll be lessons in each individual with a kora. Or the girls will be taking a lesson for singing, or dancing. So they get,
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah,
Finish.
to get prepared for the springtime traveling, because every springtime, during those days, every springtime, there's
Mm-hmm.
a family, Creole family, will travel from one village to village to promote the tradition, and teach the other people, how, stories go, to tell them stories of the forefathers, or
Okay.
their
So
parents.
wait one second. Don't go there yet because I want to get some clarification,
Yeah.
Saliu. So in the United States, homeschool means like what's happening now with COVID-19,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Instead of well, that's an example, I should say.
Yes.
But when we think of homeschooling here in the United States,
Mhm.
it's for those parents who have made a deliberate effort to be the teachers of their children at home. There is a whole process they go through with Board of Ed to make sure that the children get the right material for their age and all of that. And instead of them going into a school building and going through the different grades and being taught by a teacher who is licensed, the parent is doing all of that.
Yeah.
Based on what you just explained to me about being homeschooled in Gambia, it's different.
Yes.
It's different. Okay.
That's a quite different, because myself, I've been homeschooling for my kids right now.
Okay.
So I understand that that's totally different, because back in when I was children, that's totally different. It's not like just parents stay with the kids at home to teach them. No, you teach the kids different things at the same time, not just for one thing.
Okay.
Teach them either English, Arabic, because maybe I don't call it Arabic, but I call it Quranic, because I don't speak Arabic, but I understand the Quranic language.
Okay.
So that's why we've been brought into English, Quran, and our tradition.
So regarding your tradition, let's look at that for a quick second. You were being taught by your dad to play the kora.
Yes.
And it's in the afternoon that would happen. So the boys are learning to play instruments. I'm taking based on what you said, with what you just said. The boys are learning to play instruments, and the girls are probably learning to sing or doing other chores that might be domesticated, maybe learning to sew. I don't know.
Dancing.
Dancing. Okay, dancing. Did boys dance back then?
Back then, the boys, they pick up dance from the girls, but they don't teach the boy dancing. They only teach the girls to dance.
Ah, so let me ask you now.
But the boys are very fast, picking up, any kind of dancing style. So they just, whenever the girls are, dancing, they just jump in there, and they do it.
But it wasn't that they were expected to dance like the girls were expected to dance.
No, the time I was growing up, no.
No. Okay. You said the time that you were growing up. Is it different now?
It's different now.
Okay.
Now the boys and girls all take dance classes.
All right. So we'll talk about that.
Yes.
And in terms of it being different now, do you know any female kora players?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so we'll talk about that later too, because I just thought about it, seeing that you're talking about these gender roles. Yeah. All right. So why don't I ask you to play the kora? But before I do, that instrument to your right shoulder, to your right, that's a kora also. Am I correct?
Yes, that's a big one.
Okay, that's a big one. Could you show us it?
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, this is the instrument that we're talking about. Could you lift it and raise it? Because we can't see it when you put it down. So that's considered what, the back or the front?
This is the back.
Okay.
And this is the front.
And that's the front, and it has strings.
That is 21 strings.
All right, so we'll talk about the kora in detail just now. I couldn't help but ask you about it because it was just there haunting me, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't an ornament because it was sitting there so nicely. So why don't I ask you to play a piece for us now?
Okay, so I'll play. I'll play this, the small one.
Okay, I was just about to ask you what's the difference between that one that you just put back and this one that you have in your hand.
Yeah.
What's considered a small?
This one is considered small.
Why?
Yeah, because he's, the calabash is smaller than the other one.
Okay, all right. So let's hear you play.
That's why it's called small.
Okay.
And the reason why I put that aside for now, because the kora have 4 major different tuning.
Okay.
So one's called Silaba,
Uh-huh.
Chomora,
Uh-huh.
and Sauta,
Okay.
and Hardino. But the main ones are Silaba, Sauta.
Okay. All
Those are
right.
the
So
main ones.
play, and then we'll talk some more about the kora.
So I'm gonna be playing this one because I want to start this song, the first piece for the kora.
Okay.
Anybody want to learn the kora in the kora tradition? That's the first piece you have to learn how to play. And sometimes when you perform, sometime back in the days, that's the first piece that people start performing. It's called Kelefaba.
Mhm.
Julubadala, Julubadala, Sade Sadale Julubadala. Ah, Juluba Moila, Juluba Moila, Sade Sadale Juluba Moila. Ye, the Umbeta Juluba Moila, Ulunda Sadade Juluba Moila.
Wow. Oh my gosh, so effortlessly done. So I have a few questions for you regarding technique of playing the kora. Yes, it's a 21 stringed instrument, and you told me that there are some other strings. There's a 26 string, you said?
Yeah.
What is the difference, for example, between a 21 string and a 26 string?
The difference is to make more noise.
Okay.
Yeah, 20, 22, 23, 24 does make more noise, but
Oh, okay.
it's not uh, it's not keeping the tradition as it is.
So the 21 string is the traditional kora.
The traditional choir, yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
No, I want you there, you know, with your fingers and the string, and I'm not a musician, so don't laugh at me, right?
Yeah.
I want you there with the strings and all of that. Is it easy for someone who, say, plays a guitar to learn to play the kora? And again, this is my ignorance.
Yeah, because it's easy. Someone who play guitar or who play piano or who play harp.
Okay.
So it's easy for those ones. But you know, sometimes it depends. It depends on someone's interest because that's what usually I was saying. But I met a person that who wanted to take a class with me, and he has no musical background at all.
Mm-hmm.
But he just jumping in there, and then he start doing it. But most likely, my students, a lot of them, some have the guitar player background, some piano background. So even once I have the piano background guy, so I had to go through with him, you know, the keys between kora and piano, and very quickly he picked it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's easy. So let's go back a little bit to what we were talking about in terms of growing up, being homeschooled in Gambia. What were some of the activities that boys were doing and activities that girls were doing, and the fact that you started playing the kora at 8 years old.
Yes.
At 8 years old,
Hmm.
and at 15 years,
Yes.
you became a professional kora player.
Hmm.
Now, you're a youngster at 15, right? Or you're a youngster between 8 and 15. And I'm pulling this so that you can get an idea of where I'm going with this.
Hmm.
And at 8, you've begun playing the kora, and somewhere by 10, you're really taking this seriously because daddy is making sure that you
Hmm.
are. What are your other friends doing as you are working towards fine tuning your kora playing? Because I'm thinking for you to be a professional by age 15,
Hmm.
as a youngster, you might have been missing out on other things that young boys your age were doing. Am I
Hmm.
correct in thinking that way?
No, you're very correct. You're very correct because I can between that range of my age, 10 and 11, uh, 13, I I see myself as, I've been too much into something that I don't know if it's going to benefit me or not. So at that age, I start being, rebel to my dad. I've start being, refusing to play kora, and I start saying to my dad, I want to, I want to do something like maybe to be, a school teacher, or to be working in the government or something. And my dad is like, something wrong with you. What are you talking about? And so, like you said, at that time, and also I see my age groups, they are not even get into, the activities, unless sometimes when I'm sitting with them, or when they come to visit me in my home, then I pick up the kora and I start playing that. They sit and they listen. But then they want to take me out. They want to take me away from the kora to go play around.
Right.
So then I go with them. When I go with them, then I become like, my dad has a feeling that I'm trying to be away from the instrument.
Yeah.
And he said, look, I see what you doing. I don't know what you're thinking about, but this thing, you have to do it. I'm serious. He said, you have to do it. See, all my siblings, kids here, every child under my control here, because that time my dad is like in charge in the compound. His big brother's children, his younger brother's children, he's in charge of everyone, to teach them the instrument. Because he even has a student from outside the village. People come and stay with him to learn the instrument. So he's like, this is something, either you do it or you die. So at that time, I was like, what are you talking about? Something, this is, if I want to do it, I do it. If I don't want to do it, it's like, no, 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 no. It's not if you want to do it. You got to do it. So if you find something else better than this, later on, you want to do it, fine. But right now with me, you have to do what I told you to do. So at that time, so I feel like, maybe I should, even leave the place, leave the compound to go my grandmother's, compound, or my great uncle's compound. But then something happened the next year. me and him and whole crew traveled to across the river. So while we're traveling, so we get in a village. That village has, they welcome him so much. So at the beginning, they killed the, goats, and they got, nice meat and everything. So he has to perform. But then my companion kids also wanted me to perform. So, and then he put me in the, spot right there. He said, okay, today is your day. So you see, now your companions, they wanted you to perform. So before I perform, so the floor is yours. So you got to do,
How old were you then?
That was, yeah, 12, 13 years.
So you get to perform. You get to perform there. And how was
they kind of like the whole crew of the kids, and they're telling each other, our friends, because my father, mentioned that to them after the dinner. So they all are excited and they come. So now they come and everybody come and sit on the floor and waiting for me to perform. So my father said to me, so now it's your time now. So I pick up the kora and I start playing. So when I think all the kids are, jumping, some of them, their fathers give them money and they give, and then some of the kids, they went to their mothers, said, oh, mommy, the jelly is playing, I want to give something. Even that night, I got this, shorts, the shirt and the pant. Some kids give it to me. Then that day I have a click on my head. So this is how this thing works. Yeah.
So you were convinced now that you need to stay playing the kora.
That's the first time I was convinced.
All right, so let me ask you. You started playing the kora professionally at age 15.
Yes.
Before you answer that, I wanted to ask you this, and we got into talking about other things. When you played just now and you sang, in a few sentences, what were you saying in that song as you were playing the kora just now?
That song, like I said, that song is recognized as the first piece of the kora music.
Yeah, but what were you saying, and what language were you singing in?
I was singing in Mandingo.
Okay.
So I was saying, Juluba Moila, Sate Sadate Juluba Moila. So which means the singing, Jali singing is most likely, proverbs and poetry. So Sate Sadate Juluba Moila, I'm singing for the king.
Okay.
So I'm telling him, the city charities never hear this kind of sound.
Okay.
So the city charities, which means that someone in the village doesn't value anything, doesn't want to do anything to the village, or doesn't want to even do anything at home. So he or she always waiting food to come. When the food come, when she or he eats and he go out, he never come back until another time of the eating.
Okay.
So he doesn't want to be, a problem solver. He just want to be creating a problem.
Okay.
So that's what they call city charity, because that person doesn't benefit anything in society or the family.
Okay.
So that's why I'm telling the king, those kind of people, they're not going to hear this kind of instrument.
So we'll talk about that in a minute, because one of the things that I've learned about the kora is the special places that it's played. Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but I wanted us to go back to your first professional performance at 15. Yeah. Quickly, do you remember where it was? How was it?
Yeah, I remember that was very unique time, because I I've been traveling with my father for a long time, and always my father's when he teaching me, he always said, one day you're gonna go on your own. So you have to consider yourself as a self performer. So that's why sometimes he introduced me before he performed. He introduced me to perform for my age of groups.
Mhm.
So when I begin to learn how to tune the kora to fix it, then I said to myself, you know, that's about like 3 miles away from my village. I had one of the companions. Usually when me and my father travel, my father play for his father. Then I said, this time I'm gonna go play for him.
Mhm.
Then I pick up my kora. I went to him. Then I performed for him, and that was all the kids my age group. They love it, and even his parents, they were happy. They told me, we are so happy for you. You carry on your father's legacy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was that's the thing that motivates me. And then instead of to go back that next day, then I proceed to the next one of the big town we have called Bansam. So I went there, and I went to somebody else, and I said, I came to you. That one of the girls there. His father is a businessman, and I told her, I his father, I named my Cora to his daughter. So they were so happy that I named my choir to his daughter, and then they said, okay, now so you have to perform for you have to perform for the kid. So I have to spend the night there and perform for them. That was
Wow.
incredible.
All right, so now is a good time for us to watch a clip of you playing, and then we'll come back and talk some more about your father, his legacy, and some of the storytelling in the kingdom. So let's watch you at work um, playing the kora. All right, we're back. Not sure what happened there. We didn't have sound, but I know that when you were playing for those, are they high schoolers or middle schoolers?
It's a college.
Oh, it's college. Okay, do you remember? Do you remember which college it
That
was?
that's the University of Bogota in Colombia.
Okay, okay, okay.
I was
Well, I know that you were singing. I know you were singing a very trendy song.
Yeah, I was singing a song that they call and respond to them. So that's one of my creation of I call it what is the song called? Baila Baila,
Mm-hmm.
because they understand more Spanish. So
Right.
I try
Okay.
to interact with them. So I
Uh-huh.
call the song Baila Baila. So I played traditional song first, but then at the end I said, oh, this song was created when I went to Dominican Republic. I had I was invited to the University of Dominican Republic, That was a 2000, I think, 13. So at the opening of the African Studies. So afterwards, then they take me to the school so to demonstrate the Kora music. So one of these high school students asked me to play something to dance. So that's why I played that song.
Okay.
So I was telling them about the story, how that I was become to play that song, and they like it.
Okay. So part of what you've been doing there too is your humanitarian work, for which
Right.
you were being taught
That's
from an early age,
right. Yeah, yeah,
because
exactly.
you watched your parents do this, right? Traveling from village to village
Yeah.
and really sharing and teaching about the traditional culture. So
Hmm.
let's talk about that for a bit. Your father, the renowned Alhaji Musa Mukan Suso, he
Hmm.
was a kora player, right?
Yeah.
And a descendant of Jalimadi Wolain Suso.
Yes.
Who is Jalimadi Wolain Suso?
Jalimari Wulen Suso is one of the creator of the kora instrument. It's a long story.
Give
Uh,
me the short version.
yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Jalimari
for
is,
the people who don't
is
have
one.
time.
Jalimari is one of the very, creative. So see, his hands always moving or touching something. So and he become the creator of the kora, and from there, so all the descendants pick it up from father to son, from father to son, from father to son. That's how my father get it. That's how I get it. Because
Okay.
traditionally we pass it down from father to son. But then it was become a popular in Jali's community. So in Jali's, we have Suso, Jabate, Kanute, Kuyate. So we have many different names, but these are the names that first Jali, in the Jalia tradition.
Okay.
Some of them invented the continuo. Some of them invented the balafon. Some last name invented the dundumba.
Now, I know what the ballophone is like, and I don't want to stray away too far from our discussion.
Yes.
But what is the continuo?
Continuo is a five-string instrument.
Okay.
You say no, six-string instrument. But some people use a seven. But some people use even a one called Fedis. So it's different version with the different ethnic groups.
Is it similar to a kora with how it looks?
It's no, it's similar to kora, but it's more similar to the guitar. It's like you play on the side.
Oh, okay.
They play in the side.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So so the kora, we're
Hmm.
talking about the mighty kora.
Yeah.
In a few sentences,
Hmm.
what is the kora used for specifically? Aside from the fact that we know it's an instrument,
Hmm.
we know it's used in specific spaces.
Right.
What is the kora traditionally used for?
Kora traditionally used in the court, the royal family court.
Okay, I'm glad you said royal family, because remember,
Yes.
the courts in the United States mean a different thing.
Yes. The royal family court. Yeah. Yeah. Royal family court because even back in the days before the quota was invented, Jalia was happening. There's a Jalia praise singers.
Praise singers.
They praise the kings, and they give them information about their history, where they come from, where their forefathers you know start being a king or stuff, things like that. But back those days, the soldiers, the warriors, so they have a gourd like calabash, That's what they use back in the days to entertain themselves.
A calabash.
A calabash.
Is there a particular size of the calabash that's used?
Yeah, bigger size of calabash.
It's a big size.
Yeah, you know, calabash has many use. As you know, Africa and Caribbean, you know,
Yes.
if people
But
use
I'm
it.
wondering about the size of the calabash, because I'm looking at the size of the calabash that made the kora.
Yeah, yeah, those are, you know, I mean, like what you see today with me, that's a big and medium, and that's a small one too.
Okay.
Yeah. So those days, the soldiers, warriors, they used the calabash to tap it. So that's why they call it korim battle. Korim, because those warriors, they call warriors korim.
Okay.
So warriors are the one that use that calabash to entertain themselves.
Okay.
So after when the kora was invented, and a kora came, and kora was built with a calabash, and they call it korim battle, kora battle. But kora, you know, that's korim. It's like I said at the beginning, the language changed.
Yes.
So, but those days they call it korim. But then afterward, the word changed to kora battle. And anytime you went to Africa, especially West Africa, they will tell you kora bato.
Okay.
Bato means
So
the god.
what does bato mean?
The god.
The god. Okay.
Oh, yeah. In Mandinka, god means bato.
Okay.
But they also call it mirang.
Mirang.
Yeah, mirang.
Now kora mirang or mirang is said separately from kora batong.
Mirang separately said, because when they call
Okay.
it mirang, when they put in the farm, when it's grown.
Okay. When it's green and fresh and growing.
Exactly, they call it mirang.
Okay. So then it has to be dried. It has to go through a process and all of that after it's picked.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I know a little bit about this stuff. I don't know much, but I could tell you that some of my siblings and some of my friends who have had quote unquote country life
Right.
know a lot about the calabash than I do. I'm not well schooled about it, but I know. But one of the things about the kora, what it stands for, where it's played, has to do with knowledge of genealogy, right?
Yes.
You are a genealogist.
Yes.
What's the importance of this as a kora player?
The importance of this as a core player, like like I said, back in the days, the kora player called court griot.
Mm-hmm.
Court griot. Court jolly. So even before the king would start process of the court, the king will ask the jolly or the griot to play kora. So to clean his heart with the music and words, because they don't just do the music, they put words there. It's like an advisory to the court or the king, because before the king will allow them to perform before the court beginning. So they will tell the king, okay, this is your kingdom and this is your power, and this power was transferred to you from your father, and your father, whenever happened to the village or to the community, this is how he process. They tell him the stories of what happened during his father's time in the court, and which people his father was fighting with them, and the both sides, how the fighting was turned out, a bad side and good side. They would sing all this inside the singing. So, and they praise the king. So sometimes if the judges have a favor of the defendant, they also praise the defendant. They praise the defendant, they will tell the king in the singing that this defendant has been in trouble today, but before his forefathers were the best of the community organizers and helpers. So, but today he fall into the error. So if you make a decision, consider not only him, but his forefathers.
Okay, so good point for me to make here.
Yeah.
So the king is making a decision right now with the scenario you just described.
Yes.
King is making a decision about the fate of someone who has done something questionable.
Right.
And the kora player is in the middle of all of this.
Yes.
In some ways, advising the king.
Yep. Yep.
So this is a very important person in West African culture,
Exactly.
the kora player.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of thoughts, right? I have a lot of thoughts because, and we'll talk about that later, but I just need to put it out there so that you hear my thought.
Yeah.
When individuals see you playing here in the United States, playing the kora, it's hard to really know all of this information by just looking at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why it's important that we have these conversations, Salieu.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my goodness, I am so excited with the information that you're sharing.
Exactly.
I am truly excited. Let me ask you a question before we look at more of your work. Do you play any other instruments?
I play a little bit balafon.
Okay. Could you describe the balafon? Because I was floored. It's a pity we don't have a picture of it. I was floored when I saw it for the first time.
I will show you balafon now.
All right. We'll take a break and watch your work while you get the balafon. Go ahead. Okay. Go and get the balafon. And let's watch your work in the meantime.
Physical distance. Coronavirus. No family, visit family. No brother, visit sisters. Coronavirus pandemic. Peace, 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 coronavirus, peace. Yeah, coronavirus. Everybody, international, no international flight, no domestic flights. Everybody is scared coronavirus. Everybody is running. Nobody know where to go. Nobody is safe. Dunia, coronavirus. This universe.
All right. That was Salieu Suso playing the kora on Arts, Culture, and Things in Between. I'm Rose October, sitting with Salieu Suso, who is a kora player. Salieu went to get the balafon. Could you show it to us?
Here's the balafon.
Could you raise it? We can't see it.
Yeah.
Can't see it the way that you have it. Are you okay? Okay, and it's usually played flat, right? Like a tabletop.
Yeah.
What's underneath? Because I know underneath
small
has, right, that helps to bring out the sun. No, those are calabashes?
Yeah, those are small calabashes.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Now, in playing the balafon, and this is my ignorance here again,
Mhm.
You have those two sticks.
Yeah.
What are they called?
They call baladoko.
Okay. They look similar to like the drumsticks that you see for traditional, the big pans for the steel drums that carry a sponge on the top. But
Right.
nonetheless, I wanted to ask if someone who has knowledge of a piano would be able to play the balafon. Do you think so?
Balafon.
Balafon.
Yes, I think so.
Balafon.
Yeah. I
You
think so
think
because
so?
I see that those drums, Caribbean drums, they have the stick like this. They have something like this
Right.
rubber, you know.
Punch.
Yeah, punch. Okay, that same
It's
thing.
sponge on the end.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
Now, what's on the end there? Isn't it wood?
it's a wood.
The top. Okay.
It's a
And
rose.
how does it sound when you play?
The rosewood.
How does it sound when you play?
When you play it, you see. It's not well. You know.
Yes, situated. I know, but at least we get the sound. That's fine. If you can put it aside and sit down so that we can continue talking for a bit, that would be great.
Definitely.
So for you, those of you who are just joining us, I am sitting with Salieu Suso, who is an expert kora player. He's a storyteller. He is a singer. He's a recording artist and hails from West Africa. So one of your greatest moments, I would say,
Mhm.
is when you were introduced to Papalaji,
Yes.
right? You smile. Because that's when you got your break into playing the kora
Yeah.
in the United States,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Papalaji Kumara gave you your first break on the scene here,
Yeah.
as a kora player in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Now, looking back to that first experience and where you are now, how was the experience for you then? And did you think it would have blown up for you in a good way, the way that it has evolved?
Yes, Rose. That's I call the learning of the university for me. I call it learning of the university because those times, when I met Papalaji, I was not expecting, anything like that will happen to my life. So, but when I met Papalaji, it's like the doors open. So everybody I meet with Papalaji is like looking forward to have me to be in the group. So that was very interesting to me and also very touching because even the people that I don't know, that was the first time I met them. Even I'm not playing the kora, but just they look at me as a kora player, they give me respect.
Mm-hmm. And those individuals specifically are individuals who are aware, I would guess, of West African culture.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
know the importance of. But you shared a joke with me about Papalaji in the sense that after you spent 2 years here playing with him, and you didn't expect to spend the 2 years because the first time you came here for business, right?
Yes.
And you ended up spending 2 years
Yeah.
and playing with Papalaji with this ballet group.
Yeah.
is African Ballet Group, right?
Ballet African.
Ballet African Group. And then you left and you went back.
Yeah.
And then Papalaji is like, what's going on? You need to come back here. We have some events booked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought that was funny.
Yeah. Yeah. That was that was really funny. Even that time my mother was alive. So when I tell my mother, what Papalaji said, she's like, wow. So this guy, how come he didn't tell you that he was gonna work with you all that time. So he wait until you come here. Now we 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 are enjoying with your presence here, and he wants you to go back. And I told my mom, I said, yeah, this guy, the way he said, the way he sounds like he already has, put me inside every kind of work that he do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that was really great though, because
Yeah.
he was a well-respected person here
Yeah.
in the United States. You said he was established here since 1957.
Yeah.
I think you said that.
Yeah.
So I am thinking, for somebody who has been preserving
Yeah.
the culture for so long, and you getting that opportunity to
Mhm.
join with him, or he's bringing you in, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think that was a really, really solid foundation laid for your life as a kora player.
Yeah. 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 He was great because he involved with a whole lot of traditional, dancing, drumming in New York City. You know, Chief Bay, that was one of the African American important, icon of the African American New York City. Chief Bay, he worked with all those guys, and even some of the group that I work with, like a Spirit Ensemble. I don't know if you know Spirit Ensemble.
No.
You don't know Spirit Ensemble. Spirit Ensemble been in New York City for a while. So those guys that we work, Spirit Ensemble, I met them through Papalaji. So one of the great friend I met there was Kevin Nathaniel. I don't know if you know him, but Kevin Nathaniel is Mbira. He play Mbira, piano.
Okay.
So he has his own program now. It's called Afro Tuesdays. So I met him through Papalaji. That time he was taking a dance class. So I met with him. So I was playing kora. Even sometimes, Papalaji will make me play drum when I was not playing the kora.
Uh-huh.
This one of the joke we had, a little problem we have. One time we went to perform somewhere, I think in Middletown, the College of Middletown. So that day, the guy who played samba, he didn't show up, and he told me, he said, Salieu, so today you're gonna be two-person. You're gonna be playing kora and playing samba. I'm like, okay. So, but then because I respect him so much, so I didn't tell him, that I'm not gonna be playing this samba.
Right.
So I play samba with him because to play samba in djembe is very fast. So when we play for dancers, that was very fast, and my hand was stiff. So after playing the samba, he wanted me to play the kora.
Kora.
So I couldn't play the kora. I couldn't play the
Goodness.
kora. And he said, Sally, what happened? I said, Papa, I told you this before. If you wanted me to play a drum, then I have to play kora first. When I play the kora, then later I can play the samba,
Right.
so that I won't play kora, because when I play samba first in a drum, then my hands will get stiff to play the kora.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said,
Wow.
see. So he was very sweet guy. So we laugh, but he's a great example for me.
Yeah. What you also mentioned in this segment of our discussion is the importance of collaborating. I mean, meeting people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we met too. We met through collaborating, right? We met through
Yeah.
Brooklyn Arts Council, right? And we eventually did some work together.
Mhm.
Now, you're a leader of the ensemble Jalia Kafo, and you started your school, Kalikunda School of Music.
Mhm.
Both of them you started in 1998.
Yeah.
I had mentioned earlier on that I wanted to ask you about this, but you said Jali means praise. Did you say
Singers.
that?
Yeah.
Praise singers.
Yeah.
Praise singers.
Mhm.
And what's the difference between Jali and Jalia?
Jali and Jalia, Jali is individual.
Aha. Okay.
Jalia is a group.
It's a group. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So let me ask you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. Finish your thought.
And making the singing called Jalia.
Making the what?
Singing.
The singing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You started to talk about meeting people and doing work together.
Mhm.
How do you, right now, as a choral player, I would say, or as any performing artist,
Mhm.
it's important to collaborate because that's how you grow as an artist. That's how the public gets to see. That's how the public gets to see and know more about your craft,
Yeah.
about you. I wonder, how do you get into collaboration this day and how do you do it? And how has collaboration career?
Okay. Yeah. Collaboration is something that is very unique and also is to me is very important because music, I call music what do you call it, is is something that brings the people together
Mm-hmm.
without excuse me, without speaking the same language. So, but through the music, I can speak your language, you can speak my language. So I found that out. You know, music is something that truly is important, and for that matters, I value collaboration
Mm-hmm.
to every other ethnics or every other tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because um, special when you go thinking about, you know, playing music. Sometimes you have difficulty for some people to play with, but if you think overall, you know, it shouldn't be difficult to play with someone because, you know, if you all thinking about something, so you can come together and do something together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you ever collaborated with someone whereby you end up thinking, why did I decide to do this? And I'm saying that to say,
Mm.
maybe you felt uncomfortable in the space after you said yes to the collaboration. You kind of felt unwelcome because they weren't prepared to accommodate you the way that you should be accommodated.
Yeah. 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 That happened. But that happened when I was in New York here. You know, start playing with different groups. One time there was a group called I forget this group.
You don't have to call the name.
Yeah. But you know they they invite me to play with them. Their group, they play some nice groovies, you know. So we went to play, and when I start playing, and they said I'm out of tune.
Oh no.
Yeah, they said I'm I'm out of tune. I said, okay. So can you guys tell me what is what kind of tune are you playing? And that time I have no idea of A, B, C, and D and stuff like that. You know, they start saying, "Oh, yeah, you got to tune to D, you got to tune to the C." I say, "Wait a minute." I say, "I'm sorry, but in this quarter, the way it's set up, it's set up as a leader. So if you want to play with a quarter, you got to follow the quarter."
I like that.
Yeah. But if you want to play with a quarter, you want a quarter to follow you, it's not going to work because what he's saying now, ABC, I don't know nothing about that. I grew up, learning this instrument is not ABC. It's by ear. You listen
Yeah.
and you play. So I say, I'm sorry, but it's not going to work like that.
Wow.
And then they say, oh, so that's a traditional instrument. I say, yeah, that's a traditional instrument. So that was the end of our collaboration.
Yeah, that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now, in a couple of words, could you tell me how collaborating has boosted your career? What's the, I mean, how has it worked for
It's
you?
big time, big time, big time because I had collaborated some good cats, like Keule Kamara, Kevin Nathaniel, Rene McLean, all these cats, they do different kind of things. So Rene McLean is a son of Jackie McLean,
Okay.
a famous Jackie McLean. So Rene has a sense of, African tradition and American jazz.
Mhm.
So he loved when we collaborate with him and do something.
Okay.
So also, Kevin Netanya also, learned some African instruments. So he also, welcome, different African ethnic musical instruments to collaborate.
Nice.
So as special, Keule Kamara was a, African fina poetry and the music, blended together. And Bob Holman also, he's poetry, he's a poet. He owns a Bowery Poetry Club. Sometimes he invite me to join with him to do music, kora and poetry.
Okay.
So it been, I've been a lot of respect for those kind of people to collaborate with.
Nice. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So let's look at more of your work and then we'll come back and talk some more. I'm totally enjoying this, Salieu. For those of you watching us, you're on Arts, Culture, and Things in Between. I'm sitting with my guest today, who is Salieu Suso, an expert choral player, amongst so many other things. But let's watch Salieu at work.
They can sing, they can dance. I mean, if you feel like dancing, get up and dance. kumomoye ndale subula mume woni me ya tikanya anibaji gode bamba de barakanda kolemba malanya bale beradina la gongo la bibi daramo le woni fatu jawara bedendin dingaro bibi abatu sise sire jamme kema kibira besanjaba abubakar haidara nampal masuku wane nafatu ture yamo kunonda musike badarame.
All right. More of Salieu Suso. More of him. Salieu, your fingers just talk on the kora. What could I say? Now you've traveled Europe and you've traveled Africa, and I'm going to put you on the spot now and ask you, how would you describe the responses to your performances as a kora player in Africa versus Europe?
Yes, at first, sometimes you don't know your self value, what you do, until the people, tell you what they appreciate for your service. So when I was in Africa, I had the opportunity to travel to Nigeria, and in Nigeria, Lagos, I was with my companion kora player. So one of the jazz musician, a big jazz musician in Lagos by the name of Tunde Kuboy. So he has a place on Lagos Island that he is a big restaurant that he play every Thursday and Saturday. So he invite us to go and play with him there. His wife also is a jazz singer, Francis Kuboy. So this man, somehow he come to see us, and we play for him, and then he invite us to play with him in the jazz club. So he was very fascinated, and he was very, happy. That day, he was telling me that something I have is very valuable. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
now, go ahead.
So after that, when I went to Europe also, the same thing. So I was invited to play the opening of African club in Hamburg, in Germany, West Germany. So they are opening an African club, and I was invited to play kora at the opening. So I was surprised. These guys, they're all all seamen seamen. They work on the ship. They work from Greece to Germany to Russia to different places. So sometimes they meet in Hamburg. So they had a club there. They enjoy themselves. So they wanted me to play at the club opening. And then I was surprised, because that was some drummers there, but they don't want kora to mix with the drum. They just wanted me to perform by myself. So and I was like, wow. So this sometimes I think like maybe the way people see the kora, myself I didn't see it in that that important. So it's very respectful journey through the kora.
Can you play us a piece on your kora?
Sure. Yeah, now I'm going to play the big kora.
Ah, what a treat.
That's in a southern tuning. Yalla, 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 oh. Yalla, 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 manu. Alala. Alaballa nyanintung asola balla nyanintung. Kaulu mal bulu. Kame mal bulu. Kanata me mal vela. Narama kolna te kalibaya. Sunjara kolna te banda. Aduniya sida aduniya tama dina nganya aduniya taman taman. Kada maraka duniya kada sa bambenti.
Wow. You look like your eyes were closed, you were asleep, and you were just plucking at those strings effortlessly. Oh, I guess that's where the expertise comes in. I so admire your work. I really do admire your work.
Thank you.
I want to ask you, what was it you were saying in the song?
In the song, I was singing, at the beginning I was singing Yalla. I was singing to praise God
Okay.
that, you know, had helped to make all these things happen. So, and then at the end there was like, you know, singing for the Imperio, one of the king of the Mandins, Sunjata Keita.
Okay.
And I said, to born in the hands of the people, to raise in the hands of people, and to be above all that people born you and raise you. That's you know, created from the Creator, from the heaven.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So, you know, I just took a peek at in the chat box on Facebook, and Mikal Sagmia said, play Chedo or Masena Sise. He said that. I don't know if I pronounced it. The person said that. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. But let me ask you a couple of questions before, and we'll see if we have time to fulfill your play of Chedo or Masene Sise.
Okay.
So I would say that the kora is an unpopular instrument, and I've been running around the arts for quite some years, for a few decades. Mm-hmm. And you're the only kora player that I know. You're really the only one that I know.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering what advice do you have for young people who are interested in learning to play the kora? And we're winding this down. I'm looking at the time, but I still want to ask you this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's some young people, interested to learn the kora, and some of them, less interest. But just like myself, I take it as like when I was child. At one point I was not interested, but then I get involved with it. So that's a part, that's like a nature. But right now we have a lot of young people are interested, Kora, to get into, especially the Kora and the Jalia, because back in the days I stayed here, few years, then I went back to Gambia. I was very surprised that I don't hear too much Kora music on the radio or the people in general. But then my next trip, I went and I see a lot of young people get into the Kora, the balafon. Even my mother's compound, when I was there, they come to rehearsal in my mother's compound. I was so happy. I was like, wow, this is good.
What about here in the United States? Are people really, even if it's immigrants who are from other countries here, or your West African brothers, are they coming forward to learn to play the kora?
Oh yeah, now a lot of people, because sometimes people think if you travel, you just have to do something different. But then they found out, culture, you never leave your culture. Your culture is always there for you. So now I sometimes, even when I do my performance and some young people come to me here, do you teach the kora? I say, yeah, I teach. They said, I want to find a time to come and learn. I said, well, you're always welcome.
So that was a really good question, because my next question would have been, what are you doing to pass this along, to other generations?
Yeah, that I always tell my kids, tell them, this is something passed down to me. I have to pass it down to you. So sometimes they be like, oh, daddy, this music. I say, look, you don't have to say anything. You just learn it. If you think it's good for you in the future, go with it. If you think it's not, something else is good for you, go with that. But this one, you have to teach your children also. You have to make sure that they know about this tradition.
And generally, Salieu, the arts teaches discipline.
Yeah.
It's not just picking up an instrument and playing it, but it's so much more to that in terms of developing one's self. It's not just playing an instrument. And I think enough is not said, and it's not said loud enough for both adults and children to understand it's not just picking up an instrument and playing it. There is more to it. There is a lot of discipline and respect that is involved when one picks up an instrument or takes up something to do in the arts, an activity in the arts. So this is the last question for you. Okay. I know that you're writing a book about your musical life and all of that, and I don't want you to let anything out of the bag, but what is a significant part of Salieu that you want us to know about you? And as a performing artist, how are you dealing with the pandemic? And this is the last two-part question, because I'm looking at the time. We're out of time. And I know that we started late.
Yes, Salieu is an artist, kora player, and, I also, like to say that the pandemic is something that, has affected me and every other individual artist. But, as all sayings, something is coming to you. So you always have to look the time for that thing will be going. So I think we have to, just pray our very best, for these pandemics to pass away, so we can get back to our, arts and,
Yeah.
live together.
Yeah.
I know it's very hard, it's very difficult, but it's going to go away one day.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
And we have to remain prayerful.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
That's why I make a song about it and I'll sing about it.
yeah.
Because that's a role of a griot. Something, happen, uncontrolled, or whether control it. So we have to think about how to say something about it. In the future, people can even listen to it and can remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel as though, I know that we started late, but we've gotten so much in.
Exactly.
And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming and sitting with me. But before I close, I need to acknowledge that we started late.
Mhm.
And my apologies for that, because we are having some technical difficulties. We even had technical difficulties. I'm having technical difficulties now throughout.
That's a technical life.
We've had some technical difficulties throughout the program, and this is what happens when you're working in Zoom land.
Exactly.
But I would like to really say thank you to all of the viewers, especially the ones who are new to the program. And I know that Salieu, some of your followers were there sending words of congratulations and urging you to play. And I'll tell you about the cello just now. But just wanted to say thank you to viewership out there. And please do check out the Ghana Cultural Association's Facebook page for upcoming events. The next one is the Literary Hang on Saturday, August 22nd. Then on the 2nd of September is the award ceremony. Then Kwekwe Night is Friday, September 4, and then Family Fun Day on September 6. And as I say thanks to my guest, Salieu Suso, I want to acknowledge our technical engineer, Raul De Silva of RDE Pros. Raul, thank you so much for all you do. Really, really appreciate you. And to all of you who've been supportive, thank you. I hope you're able to join next week, 3 to 5. Hopefully, technical issues would be something of the past just for the couple of hours that we sit together. I'm praying for that. But as I'm signing off here, saying thank you from arts, culture, and things in between, and wishing you safety, good health, and a positive week ahead, I want to ask Salieu Suso, I'm doing this differently today, to fulfill the request of Mikal Sagnia to play cello. Could you play a little bit of that and take us out?
Okay.
All right. So, Mikal, you're getting your desire. And Sharif is saying congrats. Cheryl Thomas is saying thanks. Courtney is there. And so many others.
Okay, Ross, before I play cello, I want to thank you too. You are a wonderful person to meet and to work with. And I want to thank Chris Mulle also, because it's a Mandinka proverb. They said, if you walking down the street and you hit the rock, you fail. That fail, you pick up the goal. So that goal, do you have to look at the goal, or do you have to look where you hit the rock? So you have to, goal is sweet, but the reason why you got the goal, because you hit the rock.
The rock.
That's why that's the reason why you got the goal.
Yes.
So I want to acknowledge Chris Mulle
of Brooklyn Arts Council.
Exactly.
Yes, yes, and thank you. Thank you.
Maro jambe dile Maro jambedile, maro mala jambedile, sonkoni sanya jambedile. Walla bala min dole. Jamana suma kunda, bonja suma kunda, nintumanna suma kunda, balaba tengida nim balaba kan suma kajori. Wal jamana lega bala mala tapiya sankudiya babaki, biro wanda jalori jagalita. Chedo kana majo, chedo kana majo, chedo jonke kana majo.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Salieu, and thank you to the viewers out there.
That is the response.
Okay, thank you very much. And on this note, we say, see you next time. Have a productive week. All the best. Salieu.
Thank you. Thank you.
Many thanks. Bye-bye for now.